Bingo Blitz rules.
If your bingo has ads in it,
That's not a bingo.
if it doesn't have the coolest tournaments, mini games, and the most breathtaking design,
Nope, not a bingo.
if your bingo moment makes you feel so excited that you just want to burst in joy and scream out loud, bingo! Sorry, so you're playing...
Bingo Blitz? Now that's a bingo. Go for a world of excitement with Bingo Blitz, the #1 free bingo game. Download Bingo Blitz and play for free.
Now that's a bingo.
Being a marketer's no sweat. You just have to manage dozens of channels, launch hundreds of campaigns, score thousands of leads, and okay, fine, it's a lot of sweat. Unless you have HubSpot's AI-powered marketing tools to help you do all that and more. Get started at HubSpot.com/marketers.
What's up, everyone? It's Noah Daniels.
Hey y'all, I'm JJ.
Hey guys, it's Kat.
And we're your hosts of the Real Hauntings podcast, where we bring on guests to share their first-hand encounter ghost stories and supernatural experiences. Now on to the trailer.
I've been warned to not tell this story, but I think because of the way it ends, it's okay to tell this story, because some people say that with certain entities, to like speak of them or talk about them or in any way like portray them as powerful will attract them to other people. The creepiest thing about it to me is a lot of times it would wait for me to notice it. Like, it would just lay its arm out like this, and then I'd be like, where is it? Where is it? And then I'd see it, and then it would just slither back.
For more information on the Real Hauntings, Real Ghost Stories podcast, make sure you check out real.fm to learn more about our podcast and many other amazing podcasts.
Your woo didn't make it to the recording. Oh, I didn't know we had a woo girl on.
I taught everybody about woo girls, and I just love. I mean, I taught my friend group about woo girls. Okay. So I was like, uncultured swine.
Hello, everyone.
Wow, if you are watching, it's a monumental. We are monuments. We are in person together for the first time since. I don't know.
We don't remember.
We tried. We already tried this already. We don't. But it's very exciting. And if you're watching the video, go for it. Like, just if you're a part of our Patreon, $1 a month, maybe $5 if you want to do the live streams. But go see the video. You can see us in all of our glory together. Not
Megan's
spliced.
wrapped in my Arkansas alumni blanket.
I was going to like, first time I picked this up, I go, is this a Delta Airlines blanket? But then I saw.
There is one that was in that little bit.
Oh my God.
The blue one.
Okay. That makes sense because it like,
none of those blankets
are
actual blankets that I've ever spent money on.
Well, I pulled it out and it was a lot bigger than the airline blanket. So I was like, I'm not going to insult this blanket by calling it an airline blanket now that I see that I can wrap my whole body. But yeah, between the couch, the blanket, and my shirt, I am ketchup relish mustard.
When you first made that joke, I thought you were referring to the yellowish tone of your skin.
Okay,
and I was
jaundice is not my fault that I wasn't under the light
so
cooking.
I was like, I don't see it, but it took me until we record the update before we did this, and then I saw the full picture.
Yeah,
and I was like, okay, that makes more sense.
It really looks like it. And you can also see I'm giving so much side boob. There's a whole episode.
Let me let mine come through a little bit more.
So if you want some side boob action, join our Patreon.
Also,
okay, yeah, what?
Big news.
I don't know what this big news is, everybody.
Huge news. Welcome to season 10.
What the fuck? You're kidding.
No. We do 26 episodes a season, so now we're on our 10th season.
Oh my God, we're gonna get canceled. This is the one,
so we gotta go balls to the wall.
Oh my God,
26 episodes.
This is our Modern Family. How many do they do?
I don't know.
For some reason, I thought they did 10, and then they ended up doing like 10 and a half.
Modern Family.
Or they only do 9 seasons. We as like Modern
11. They did 11.
Yeah, so I think everyone thought 10 was the end.
We were going to end at 10, and then we didn't. I say we because I feel like I was part of the family too.
Well, we were. As Modern Family's biggest fans.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, wow. Wow. Holy shit. What the fuck? That's crazy.
But here we are.
Wow. Wow. Well, congratulations to all of us. Thank you all for listening for this long. That's wild. Well, anyways, welcome to Don't Blame Me, the advice podcast where we give life-changing, wonderful, absolutely amazing advice. And you might be wondering, how are you qualified? First of all, it's none of your business. Don't ask questions. I sound like a cult.
Just be here.
Just be here.
Just show up, listen,
Subscribe.
and just let it marinate.
Yeah. Just let it seep all over your body. Let it soak in to all your orifices.
You know what I wanted to do, but I know you hate it.
Oh, the mouth noise.
Mhm.
Yeah. Thank you so much for resisting
You're
the
welcome.
urge. I
It's
really
like the
appreciate
urge
it.
is so strong.
I can tell based on like how stiffly you're holding your body. You're physically restraining.
Because I have to, move my cheek,
Oh,
and
yeah.
I can't do that without my hands, and so
Good.
I'm
Good. Thank you.
holding it down.
I appreciate it. We can pivot from a different subject so you don't have to keep thinking about it.
I want to do it so
I
bad.
know. Don't do it. Okay. So we're going to give advice. You call in. Well, you've already called in. We have a phone number, 310-694-0976. International listeners, you can send us an audio message at meghanpodcast@gmail.com, and you record your voicemail, and then we listen to it on the show and give you advice. And the best way for us to give you the best advice is for you to give us the best call. And for that, we're not going to do the A, B, C, and D because I'm going to forget we're doing.
I know.
Okay. You need to be 18 or over, have your parents' permission. And we ask that you write down what you're going to say, practice it a couple times. You can pull out your timer because you only have 3 minutes. You will be cut off. And if you have the most.
And I just want to say with the 3 minutes, it's 3 minutes from when you start. I think people are getting confused. It's 3 minutes from where like the answering machine makes the beep. It's not when you hear Megan's voice.
Oh, yeah.
So don't look at the timer that's like on your phone as the call's going, because you
Oh,
add about
that's-
20 seconds onto that.
People always like, I'm running out of time. We're like, no, you're not. That makes sense. Okay. I get that now. I would have probably done the exact same thing. So yeah, write it down and then you can practice to make sure your specific call of you talking is under 3 minutes. And we ask that you include your age, if there's other people involved in the story, their ages, especially if it's relationships, how long you've been together, all of like that information that will help us give the best advice that will influence the advice that we give. And if you want to let us know your pronouns, do it. It's totally anonymous. So please don't include your name. If you do, we're just going to bleep it out. But if you want to include some fake names for people, that always works well for us to kind of keep track. And
That's it.
That's it. Oh, and if you're sensitive, let us know. Just give us a heads up ahead of time because we give the advice that we would like to see in the world. Sometimes you can't ask your best friend for advice because they're just going to tell you what you want to hear. And we are going to tell you what you need to hear.
What we want to hear.
Exactly. I'm going to say what I want to say. And you're going to listen, you're going to like it. Or you're not going to like it. And you're going to be like the girl who was dating someone in the coma and the twin brother thing. And then never again. Goodbye. Where are you? But we did kind of go in deep. Think about her a lot.
I do too.
I hope she's okay.
Let us know if you're still listening.
Yeah, you don't have to give us an update. I just want to know, like,
Are you still
wellness
here?
check. Are you good?
Mhm.
Are you listening? I would love an update though.
Like, are y'all still together?
I know.
Okay.
Okay. Anyways, we have an update.
Yes, we do.
So take it away.
Okay. So, my original call was that I was asking advice on whether or not I should tell a classmate of mine that I had a crush on them. I am in graduate school. It is a 2-year program, so I still have a year left. But when the episode came out, we were on winter break, so I could not really do anything because we live in 2 different states. So I wasn't able to like do anything, and it would just be really weird to like text someone that. So I didn't see them for like well over a month. And then when we got back to school, we had seen each other for like a little bit before classes started. And then we were walking back from class one day. It was me, him, and another one of our friends who I told that I had a crush on him before we left for winter break. And she was kind of stirring the pot. So she goes, oh, hey. So before she was like, she asked him about the situationship girl. So a part of the original call was that he'd just gotten out of a situationship with another girl that he went to undergrad with, and who also goes to the same school as us for grad school, but in a different program. And so he goes, she asked him like, oh, hey, how is so-and-so? And he goes, oh, yeah, we're together. and both of us are like, wait, what? And he was like, oh, yeah, she's my girlfriend. And again, we had seen him for at least a week. Like, we had talked to him, like I had at least talked to him over the winter break for a little bit, and like he never mentioned this. And at first I was like, okay. But then I was like, you know what? It's a sign. It's a sign that I'm glad I did not embarrass myself and tell this person that I liked him, because it would have like backfired in my face. But the story does not end there. So, so I told another one of my friends that I had a crush on him, and I was like, but he has a girlfriend. However, I think he still flirts with me. So being a Leo, I feel like everyone is in love with me at all times. So sometimes I have to tell people around me that like, just watch, just see, because I could be just like I could be making it up in my brain. But you know, just see how he interacts with me and let me know if it's flirting or not. So you know, he comes, we work very close, like we work in the same building during like our grad assistantships. So he would come almost every day and like eat lunch in like our break room and all that stuff, literally for the whole first semester and kind of half of the second semester of school. So we would interact almost every day. And so my friend I told, she was like, I don't know, like I need a little bit more time to see if like what is, you know, what he's doing, what his behavior is, because like he would be adamant on like giving hugs to me, which isn't a problem for me because I really like hugs and I liked him. So I was like, I'm gonna give him a hug. So he was very adamant on like, every time I see you, like you're gonna, not gonna, but like we're
hugging
hugs, like we're hugging.
Is this the same friend that was stirring the pot with the other guy?
Yeah.
Ooh, I like this friend.
I do too.
I like this friend.
And you know, he would always like make sure that we like sat next to each other, and he would always sit next to me and be close to me and blah, 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 things like that. So one of our cohort members has a birthday in January. So she decided to host a party at her place with a lot of alcohol, a lot of amounts of alcohol involved. Okay. So this is another friend. Okay, listen, I know I said I didn't want a lot of people to know, but I told way too many people that I should have. So,
relatable. I also relate to this.
So she also knew that I liked him, and she was just like, let's see what he does at my party. So she has the party and she tells everyone, like all of our cohort people, like, hey, bring whoever you want, because a lot of our cohort members have like significant others. And so she's like, bring whoever you want. If you want to bring them, go ahead. Like more the merrier. And his girlfriend decides not to come for whatever reason. I don't know why, but he was just like, oh no, she didn't feel like coming. So yada, yada, yada. So he shows up girlfriendless. And we're sitting around like playing drinking games or whatever. Do you know the game Piccolo? It's like a phone game. It's kind of like Heads Up, but not really.
Okay.
So
I'm familiar with Heads Up.
I played plenty of these.
Also, isn't a piccolo like a flute?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
like a tiny instrument.
Okay.
But it's like it tells you things that you can do, and most of it is like naughty things.
Oh.
It's a drinking game.
Okay.
So one of the things was like so and so slap my ass, basically saying that asking the person to slap or grab my ass, and they go to do it because, you know, it's a game, we're like playing, and the guy who does it, he's a gay man. He's never slapped a woman's ass in his life, so he's just like like, just like a soft little tap. And the guy that I have a crush on, he's like, well, that's not how you do it.
Oh God.
And we're all just like, okay, well, let's
demonstrate.
Let's see how you do it. Let's see how you do it. And so he like full on just like hits and grabs my ass, and then all of my friends are staring at me like, what the fuck is going on? And after that night, my friends were like, is something? I was like, no, he has a girlfriend. And they were like, interesting. Very interesting on how he was treating you, and was very adamant on smacking your ass. Unprovoked.
Yeah,
He
no.
was like,
it wasn't his turn.
It wasn't his turn, and he was just like very adamant on needing to make sure everybody knew that he knew how to slap an ass, especially mine.
The ego.
I know. And that same night, so we lived very close to each other. So he drove me home. He wasn't drinking because he drove.
So he wasn't even drunk when he smacked your ass?
No, he was sober. Yeah.
I mean, we all know that he didn't invite his girlfriend, right?
Right.
Just FYI. You know that now. He didn't invite her. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep.
Continue on.
So he drove me home from the party, and I was like, he pulled up to my apartment, and I was like, okay, like, see you later. Bye. And I like leaned over to like give him like a side hug because I'm in the passenger seat, he's in the driver's seat. And he literally goes, see you later, turns his whole head around and just plants a huge kiss on my cheek. Like, and it's like so close to my mouth, like, because I don't turn my head close to him. So I'm just like on the side, and he turns his head and just plants one on the side of my face. And I was shocked in the moment, and I was like, okay, bye, and like rushed out of the car and like unlocked my door, went in my door, literally called my friend. It's like 1:30 in the morning, and she just left the party. I just left the party. I just called her, and I was like, you will never like guess what the fuck just happened in his goddamn car. And she was just like, what? Like freaking out. So I was telling her the story about it, and she was just like, that is so inappropriate of him to do. And I was like, I know that I make jokes about being a homewrecker, but I really don't want to be. Like, I don't want this to start drama with his girlfriend, because like I know most people are like, oh, like probably like fuck the girlfriend, like whatever. But she actually is a really cool person, and I actually kind of like her. So that's what makes it also difficult for me to like have feelings for him. So I was like, I actually like his girlfriend, and she's actually a really cool person. But yeah, it was just very, that was like the big night that my friends were like, why is he still acting like this towards you when he knows that he is in a committed relationship? And this was in January, and nothing that big has happened since then, but it's been like little things of like, he still calls me nicknames. Like his favorite one to use for me is my queen.
God.
He loves using my queen with me for some reason. Yeah, it's very cringy. And like now that I'm like saying it out loud, I'm also getting the ick all over again.
Do you mind me asking what his ethnicity is?
Oh, he is a white man.
Okay, that's what I thought. That's exactly what I thought.
He's a white man.
Yeah. But my queen solidified it for me. But yeah.
But so now I'm in a different state for the summer, and he's back. Like he's still in our like school hometown with his girlfriend. They decided to stay there over the summer. They've been together for 6 months. They seem to be happy. I really don't know. I stopped asking questions, and he stopped like giving me answers about it. And he like doesn't tell me anything, because before like they were in a situationship before they were in a relationship. So there was like ups and downs, and he would always like talk to me about it and talk to our friends about it. And I don't know. Now he's like, he doesn't talk about it at all. Like his girlfriend at all, to any of us, to any of our friends. And so I'm just like, whew, dodged a bullet on that.
Yeah.
Ugh,
Do you have the full ick
now? I'm getting like the ick.
Yeah, do you have like
I
the full ick?
now.
Because I can
Yeah.
sense it.
I'm glad
Yeah.
that you did not take my advice.
Yeah, me fucking too. God, yeah.
Because in case people listening didn't hear the original call, but my advice was to just go for it.
Yeah, and I said don't do it. So
I literally thought about it. I thought about it for a second to be like, you know what, like why not? Like at that point, I didn't know that they were together, so I was just like, who cares? But then once they got together, I was like, I can't do that. That's just
yeah.
you know.
Well, I mean, I think that like I could
Record
totally
vibes.
see how like when someone like gives you kind of a door to their relationship where it's like him complaining about her and like confiding in you and your other friends and that stuff, like that is like people just they shouldn't do that in general, especially when it's like people you flirt with, because like it basically like is telling someone who you flirt with like, oh look, there's holes in my relationship. But like for a lot of other people that would have been like the green sign go, but you were like, wait, I really like this girl, like she seems really cool and nice, and so I like her as a person, so I'm not listening and taking in any negative things you might say about her. But you know, when someone then continues to be in a relationship with someone like after they've like flirted with you, it like is maybe like at the beginning can be like, oh my god, this is exciting. Then after a while, it's just icky. You're just like, oh, I don't even like you anymore because like this is I don't want to date you and have you do this to like someone else. And like this person's really cool that you're dating, and like this just it's really easy like. When you don't actually act on that stuff, like I think a lot of people would avoid being a homewrecker if they waited a month and then they'd get the ick.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I mean, not to be like talk about myself, but I've had a lot of guys in relationships try to like date me, and I'm like, yeah, it's flattering at first. I never do anything, you know, that would be considered cheating. But then like when you think about it, you're like, this is awful, because like what if I was with this person, they were doing the same thing? I would hate that.
Yeah. That's definitely how like I felt that, and I was like, actually I don't feel comfortable.
I'm glad you didn't say anything. Sometimes there's people are like, why not? And sometimes the question is, why? Why should I do this? Why? You know, why? I'm gonna hold off until I can know that like I'm saying a sound mind and body and the outcome is gonna be what I want. Like sometimes if I don't know that I'm gonna get exactly what I want, people are like, you don't know if you don't ask. Well, you know what? Maybe I won't ask. Maybe I will wait to find out that I'm going to get exactly what I want. And I think that's especially when it's like a shit and where you eat situation, you got to let things like marinate and stew before you act on it. But I am glad that it was a even if you had said anything, I am glad it's a 2-year program, not a 4-year program, because that would have been worse. But
also there was a thing of whether or not I studied, and I know I should, but I do not. I don't study. I'm really bad at studying.
Okay, but you're smart.
You're still making like,
so
for me,
lucky.
grad school is like, it's more of like a pass fail type thing, you know, like
you do.
As long as you try,
as long as you try, it doesn't.
Also, I also think grad school even if I never find out you graduate, you went to grad school, that's enough. I didn't even finish undergrad. Like any postgraduate degree, I'm like automatically you're in a different level. So you don't need to study. Some of us do need to study and also can't do it. But you know, if you don't need to, don't fucking do it. But yeah, the drama.
Yeah.
The drama.
The drama.
Well, I hope that you can have like a fun, not situationship, or a situationship you want. Someone fun and nice and
not in your program.
In your program and not with a girlfriend.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Those are on the list of
the short list of what we
maybe find a little summer fling with where you are now.
I'm actually doing like a little first date thing while I'm here in the summer. So yeah, I'm trying to go on as many first dates as possible. I've only had 2, which is fine, but I still have a couple weeks before I have to like be back. So I'm going to try to sneak in like maybe 2 or 3 more.
Wait, that's great. Fun. I love that.
I do too.
That's like great.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Fuck yeah.
It's been a fun time.
Oh my God.
I'm living my best life.
Yeah, you truly are. Loving the mindset. Absolutely perfect. Thank you for giving us the update. I am so glad you are not with this guy. And I hope that maybe he hasn't ruined the term "my queen" for you. And next time,
I hate it.
I hate it so much.
Yeah. I hate it.
You know, maybe the next time the nicknames will be. Well, thank you so much. I hope you enjoy the rest of your summer and fuck yeah on your next and final year of grad school.
Mm-hmm.
Fucking crush it.
Yes.
Amazing.
Thank you so much.
Happy she didn't say anything.
Yeah. And I don't like him.
No.
They're still friends, so I'm gonna be, you know.
I mean, she knows we don't.
Yeah.
Like,
there are some things that I had that were cut out.
Oh, we're gonna cut that out?
We have to, because then it might reveal things.
Okay. I thought you were like, it's not bullying.
No.
Okay.
Because
for her life,
Yes.
without a doubt, that makes more sense. I thought you meant for the audience. And I was like, okay.
No.
Yeah. But I mean, I feel like if we keep this part in, certain people will know.
Yes, the people that know. The girls that get it. Did you see that somebody put her words on a billboard?
Shut up.
Yeah, and she has it copyrighted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's a fat check.
Uh-huh.
Oh, that's a.
Hey, Meghan and Melisa. I'm a big fan of the podcast. I started binging it during COVID, and I've wanted to call in for a while. So honestly, this feels kind of weird to be doing now. But I'm a female. I'm 24. I use she, her pronouns. And my boyfriend in this story, he's 23. He uses he, him pronouns, and we've been together for almost 5 years now. So I just finished my first year of teaching in May. And during that year, I lived at home with my parents so I could save money because, I don't make any fucking money as a teacher. And during this time, my boyfriend, because he's a year behind me, was finishing up with college, and he was 2 hours away. And then once he graduated, he moved back home with his parents 3 hours away to look for jobs. Thank God he finally found a real adult job. He starts in July, and then in August, we will move into our apartment in our new city together. Because of these life circumstances, we know that we're not ready to get engaged yet. We've talked about marriage, and we know that we want to be married one day. But 24 and 23, still pretty fucking young, don't really need to be engaged yet. And 2, we both kind of need to get into life and actually make money before we really think about engagement. So even though I know that I am not ready to be engaged, he's not ready to be engaged, I can't help but feel pretty shitty when I see other people my age get engaged, especially when I know they haven't been together as long as we have. And even though 24 is still young, I'm only seeing more and more engagements at this point, and it's really causing me to feel kind of inadequate. I know it's not rational, but it just kind of is what it is. And so, I know that I'm not ready to be engaged, but I just can't help but compare myself to these people and compare my relationship. So Meghan, I'm hoping you can give me some advice here on how to not get so down in the dumps when other couples reach certain milestones faster than you do. I know you and Mont have been together for a long ass time. You only recently got engaged. So I'd love to know if this was something you struggled with and how you dealt with it so that maybe you just didn't feel like shit every time you saw an engagement. So thank you guys for any help you can give me. Love ya. Goodbye.
You need to move to a city in a blue state. That truly, that is why you and I, we have such different experiences with friends and engagement and stuff. I am one of 2. My best friend is now married, which is fucking weird. But I have 3 friends in total. Period. I mean, well, yeah. No, but I have literally 3 friends my age who are engaged, And we literally all got engaged probably within, I don't know, a couple months of each other. And we've all, maybe Mott's and I have been dating the longest, but I don't know. I would think we're all relatively similar stuff. So it's a product of your environment, so much. And I want to say that, like, you know, when you see people get married, that like you are being completely rational in the sense that like you haven't lived together yet. Like, of course, this is like the right, I 100% am backing you that I think like you're making the right choice. Like, you know, money, and we haven't lived together yet. And like, we're still really young. And despite we've been together for a long time, I also think that, once you date past 25, the years you date past the age of 25 means a lot more, especially when you're like living together and stuff, because you are coexisting and cohabitating, and not just like in college or in high school and kind of like going along life doing the same thing, just like in the same boat, like just doing that. This is more like I'm choosing to put my boat and your boat next to each other, and then we're going to figure our life out together and build this life. So that's part, because part of me also wants to say that statistically, and Melissa can back this up, statistically, if you're seeing a lot of your friends get engaged and get married who are 23, 24 years old, and also have been dating less than 5 years,
they're not going to stay together. I, firsthand experience, grew up in Arkansas. A lot of my friends got engaged or married as soon as they graduated from college. Most of them are not together anymore. A lot of them are on their second marriages. And then like the ones that are together aren't happy about it. Like they talk about how much they regretted getting married so young. They feel like they're kind of stuck in their marriages and because of their kids and stuff. And they wish that they had waited. So I think you're doing what's right. Like, it may be tough seeing other people that are, you know, your peers that are the same age that are doing things. I mean, FOMO is real. But think about your own happiness as a whole, and not just like tunnel vision for what you're seeing right now. Look big picture, because like you're doing what's right for you. I mean, it could be right for other people, but you're doing what's right for you. One, you're trying to save money. Two, like your boyfriend has y'all have been long distance for a long time. You currently live 2 hours. Well, they lived 2 hours away while you were in school, and then now they live 3 hours away. So you need to go through, you know, like an adjustment period of what it's like to date. Like, this is a new period of your life, what it's like to date when you are not only like close to each other, but living in the same house or apartment or wherever you're living. And then just getting to know each other, getting to know yourself, what it's like not living with your parents is also a big adjustment. So just take your time. Just because you see people that seem like that they're happy doesn't mean they aren't. You're just getting a highlight reel of their lives. You're on your own journey, which I hate that word, but
very bachelor, but it's true.
But it's very true. Like, this is you're the only person that can live your life is you. And you know what's best for you. You said that this is what you want to do. It's hard to say like don't feel inadequate when you see these other things happening, but I think just kind of change the mindset of like they're probably doing what they think makes them happy, but it's not what actually is going to make them happy.
So that's what I was going to say, because like you're not only doing the best thing for you, but statistically, by the textbook, by the book, a therapist will tell you you're doing the best thing. And I think what you're comparing is like you're thinking that these people have already gotten past this phase, that like financially they're doing way better off. Like they have like something's clicked and they've have something that you don't have, that you're like, I don't want to, where we are now, I'm not ready to get engaged, but they are. So like that's what it's feeling envious of, but they're not at a different point than you. They're just not seeing the bigger picture like you are. And I do not know. And like, there are 100% exceptions to the rule, but like, I don't know anyone who got married young. Like, even if they're happy, if you watch Aspen and Parker on YouTube, Aspen's one of my good friends. Aspen will tell anybody that she like loves her husband more than anything, loves her kids more than anything. But she was like, yeah, I wish we had waited longer before we got married. And she was like, it was just a product of our environment and like how things go. And like, Also, to be fair, she waited like the longest of all of her friends. And for her, that kind of felt like, okay, you know what? I don't necessarily fit in. A shocker if anyone doesn't know. Aspen doesn't really fit in with the Utah kind of tropes. And so
I don't think most people in Utah fit in as far as it goes, since we know that there's a lot of swingers out there.
Truly.
Yeah.
Mom talk all over again. But yeah, so even that was doing your I don't want to call it your rational brain, but like when you look at like the logistics of the logic of it all, even in your own environment, that does shrink and expand those time frames and stuff. So even going through all of those, like waiting longer to do that, she still says like, I wish we had just kind of like enjoyed dating for a little bit longer and doing that into our adulthood. And that is what happens after you turn 25, is you kind of have that clarity. And you also will, not that I don't have a lot of friends who are like married or engaged, but I've seen it happen on like people I went to college with who I'm not friends with. And there was a large influx of people getting married at 24, 23. Past 25, no one was getting engaged until like 27, 28. And so I think that I always talk about how great it is to turn 25, but it really is. I don't know. I mean, I know it's because your brain fully develops, but like there is just sense of confidence behind the decisions that you make and like the thoughts that you have. And if you can, in a not bitchy way, look at your friends and don't pity them, but recognize like, I really, and don't say this to them, but like, if you have to say this to yourself, like you can have a petty voice in your head where it's like, I really hope their marriage makes it. I really hope they make it. And if you have to be a little cunty in your head,
I hope that they're as happy as they seem.
Yep. I hope that this isn't for show. Like, I hope that this is really how it is. I've met other people who are engaged, and when they find out Mats and I are also engaged and have been together for so much longer, and we don't really want to have a wedding. Like, we're going to get married, but we don't really want to have like a wedding. And people will tell me about all of this stuff that they're going to do and like their relationship and stuff. And then they'll ask like, oh, how long have you guys been together? And I'm like, how long has it been? Almost like 7 years at this point. And they're like, oh, wow, we've been together for 2 and you're not blah, blah, blah. And I can tell that because we've been together for so much longer, it makes them feel threatened in their relationship and then can project that. But I think if I was younger without, and I was in an area where those were like my friends and my peers and wasn't just these one-off situations, without a doubt that would make me feel insecure. But I think if you can surround yourself with people who, in general, I think it's a great thing to do if you grew up in a town or an area that everyone kind of has like the same upbringing and the same backgrounds and point of view, to surround yourself with people who have different life experiences than you, because that's going to be the best. Because find some liberals in that city, find some women who like have like work jobs and like had to go to I guess longer
but
schools.
Even I'm gonna say even like the area that I grew, it was in Arkansas, but it's still more liberal part of Arkansas. And most of my friends are liberal, and it's still the same thing. Like it's still like people marrying.
Oh yeah, I should have said in like a, what do you call like a city that like you move to, like where they're like a transplant city.
Yeah,
like yeah. So like is it still a transplant?
Like where because Walmart and then most people that just are coming in are moving in, that are adults.
Be conscious finding people who aren't in that position. And also no one should care about your relationship.
Right. The only people that should care is you.
Hey, Meghan and Melisa. So this call is going to be very, very, very scatterbrained, and I'm very sorry. I'm calling on a whim. Anyways, so I am 18. I still live at home with my parents, which is kind of what this call is about. I am still financially dependent because I am going to school. I'm almost done because I'm going to a trade school, so I finish much faster than in traditional college. And I have kind of always had a strained relationship with my mother specifically, and in the last week it's been particularly bad, and I'm not exactly sure why. I And I just like don't really know what to do because it's just so stressful and anxiety anxiety giving, like living in the same house as her and like having to like work with her on certain things and like whatever and like do household things for her. Like it just is very stressful for me, and like it gives me a lot of anxiety because she's just very much one of those people who I don't know what is going to set her off and what isn't, and it's very wishy-washy. I definitely don't have the best coping mechanisms when it comes to her either. So I know I'm partially at fault, but I am in therapy and I am working on it and I am getting better. But sometimes there's just things that I just explode, and it's definitely not healthy, and I'm very much aware of it. But I just was wondering if you guys could give me any advice on maybe how I can either try and work on my relationship with her or just like learn how to coexist with her in our house until I'm able to move out. I think it's kind of what the basis of my call is going to be. There's not really much other details. So yeah, this is kind of it. This is kind of a crappy call. Sorry. Anyways, thank you. Bye.
Really is actually not a crappy call.
It wasn't for this not to be written down, which you avoided saying, but we felt it in our spirit.
Yeah, and there's a big pause. On a whim.
It was actually pretty good.
Yeah.
No one else do that. But...
No, that was an exception to the rule, and yeah. I totally do not. Sorry. Yeah.
In case you're new here.
Oh,
Megan is
I'm being sarcastic. All right. So the first thing I'll say, I literally have a whole huge section on my book about this, like specifically like how to like survive and coexist when you have to, because yes, we talk about, and I say this now at like my age of being like living on my own and being independent, like cut people out, but that was not an option when you're younger, and I understand. So first thing, I'm so glad you're in therapy. Any advice we give you, run by your therapist before you do it, because I can come from personal experience, and like, you know, we've also been in therapy, but it is really important that how you like behave in your house is important to your safety, physical and emotional. And so just please run anything by your therapist before you like take our advice, because I mean, I think, to be fair, I hope everyone does that if it's if you have questions or it is pertaining to something that is a little bit more precarious, like your like living situation. First of all, nothing is your fault. It's truly not. You are 18. You are the kid here. No matter how old you feel, it's not your responsibility to mitigate how your parent reacts to you. And like what you're describing of like the inconsistency is something I'm sure your therapist has like talked to you about. And your anxious reaction is textbook. Like that is what happens when you can't anticipate how somebody's going to behave, and you are like walking on eggshells and you don't know what's going to set them off. You exploding, I don't think is a bad thing. I think it's just a matter of, do you feel better after? Do you feel, I don't want to say do you feel seen and heard, because it doesn't sound like that's happening in this relationship, but is it more depleting than cathartic? Because I think that's what's the most important thing in these situations. And you can want to try to work on a relationship as much as possible, but I would really urge you to ask yourself, and I mean this in the least cunty way possible, if your mom wants that and if she is open to that, or would you be having to do 99% of the legwork? Because that's not fair to you, and it's also not going to have the outcome that you want, and it's just not going to be successful. So my immediate very biased advice, so take that in, is that yeah, you learn how to coexist. And how to coexist I get very much more into depth in the book about it, but when you can't anticipate how somebody is going to react to things, like I find it was a lot easier for me to consciously choose how I was going to behave before the situation started. So I didn't feel like I was being as controlled as much, or I was being as like reacting to what someone else was doing to me. And so I think that you spend as much time out of the house as possible and paying attention to patterns, and then also knowing and recognizing when they're trying to get a rise out of you and trying to get a reaction out of you. And the thing that I found the best for me personally, which might not be the best for you, is I was just no reaction. Like there, at a certain point, it can be too emotionally taxing to kind of try and, you know, take the good with the bad. Like those like small moments that it seems like things could be good or whatever can be way more damaging when like the rug is ripped out from underneath you. So my thing was to spend as much time out of the house as you can, and doing a lot of your things on your own. And whether that's like coming up with your own chore list before things get done, headphones in, and just not really engaging not really engaging in things, that made me feel like, weirdly, it made me feel like I had more of a role in this relationship. And I had more of like, I was in the driver's seat with that, where when you kind of know how you're going to behave regardless of what someone else says or does, it can take a little bit of the power away.
Yeah.
What do you think?
That's good advice. I mean, my mom gets on my nerves, but not in the same way. But I used to argue with her a lot. Like,
yeah, I think we've both said this.
Yeah, like so much so that I would get like, well, I'm black, so I don't get red in the face, but like if I like so much so as
steam out your ears.
Yeah, as the expression goes, that I get red in the face, my voice would get hoarse. And it took me like talking about it in therapy and then coming up with a game plan on how to deal with things. And there are certain things that aren't, where I feel like I think like having any type of relationship, there's compromise when it comes, because no one thinks exactly alike.
Except for us.
And we're very similar in
same
our
human
thoughts.
design.
Yeah. And so my therapist just gave me tools for how to deal with it, and how to, if things are getting too heated, like you said, not being there as much, or just excusing myself to go to my room and having time to calm down. And then sometimes my mom would just follow me, and I would be like, look, like, I'm trying not to escalate this. Can you please just give me some space? And she'll be like, oh, okay. And then she'll come like back like 5 minutes later, and then like, oh, I'm just needing to get what do you need to get out of my room?
An excuse.
Right.
An excuse to see you.
And excuses,
to talk.
As I say quite often, excuses are bridges that lead to nowhere. So and this could be a conversation with your therapist, figuring out like what are the things that really make you angry, what are the things that really makes your mom angry, and then figuring out what those triggers are, and then coming up with a game plan for, when this happens, then I'm going to do this. When this happens, I'm going to do this. When this happens, I'm not going to do this, because of not doing things is also part of it. So, I mean, there's one thing that even now, my mom will say this one thing all the time that just grates me, and I was ignoring it for. The thing is that I've already told her before that this is something that makes me angry, and then it was fine for a minute, and I told her why it made me angry. And it was fine for like, I'd say like maybe 6 months, and now it's starting again. And I told her, it got to a point yesterday when I was talking to her where I was like, you need to stop. And she's like, well, I'm talking about that this is something that affects me. And I'm like, no, because it it directly affects me. It's something that you want me to do that has nothing to do with you. And then I told her why it upset me. And she's like, oh, well, that's not my intention. I said, it doesn't matter what your intentions are. This is how I feel. And you know what? I'm probably going to have to do this again in 6 months. But at least I know, like, for some point, some amount of time, I'll be okay for right now.
Did you and your mom have like because if people don't know, you have you guys are relatively decently close in age. Like, you're all in the house at the same time
I'm
for a bit.
6 years older than Melanie.
Yeah.
But me and Melanie did not get along when we were kids, but we do now.
But so did you get along with your mom when you were like growing up?
The thing is, my mom was in corporate America a lot. She wasn't at home a lot.
Because I was going to say, did your relationship get better with when you moved out?
I didn't see her that much when I was at home. So I can't, like, when I saw her, it was fine. I actually, now that I think of it, I think it was more kind of when I started becoming my own person and having my own thoughts that it got worse. Yeah.
Because I do wonder, and I would ask your therapist about this too, and you could even just like poll your friends. I think it's really, really normal in like the patriarchy and internalized misogyny for daughters and moms to have like a fraught relationship growing up. But anecdotally, in my experience, I have friends who are really close to their moms, like all growing up, and then kind of similar to you, like when they got older and they started making their own life decisions and maybe wouldn't get a ton of input or would maybe not make the same choices like their parents would, and they'd historically been really close, that had kind of caused a new tension that was like, whoa, this is something we haven't experienced before. And then I also know people who had really fraught relationships with their mom, like daughters who had really fraught relationships with their mom up until like late high school. And then once it was late high school and moving out, the relationship got exponentially better.
All right. It's time for a break.
Oh, okay. We'll be back. We're back. Let's play the rest of the calls.
Hey, Meghan and Melisa, love the podcast. So I'm calling because I'm really worried about my best friend. We are both her, 23 years old. We live in South America. Since last year, my friend has been in a lot of shitty relationships. All the boys that she has dated are really bad people. They treat her poorly, and a few had put her in dangerous situations. Like, she dated a man 10 years older than her. He says she should be a model, and he could help her. So he took pictures of her in underwear and then broke up with her because he wasn't ready for a relationship. All her relationships end for this exact reason. Even though they treat her badly, she stays in the relationship until they broke up with her. And usually it doesn't last longer than 2 months. So she just met this guy. He's also 23 years old. They've known each other for 3 weeks. They have literally one day of being officially boyfriend and girlfriend. And because his family lives in the United States, he's going to move there in a month. And my friend is going to move there with him. She says because it's a great job opportunity. He told her he could get her a job of babysitting where she will make $8,000 a month. She will be living with him and his family, and she's really excited about moving with him. I told her it was a bad idea because she barely knows the guy. She doesn't know his family and they are moving to another fucking country. I also told her that my cousin works in the States being a nanny and she doesn't make $8,000 a month at all. And I get that in the States, jobs pay more than in South America, but she has money, her family has money, she has a degree, she just graduated college, she's white, she could easily find a good job here. I told her all my concerns, but she says she wants to try. She wants a better life and a better future, and even though she doesn't know this guy for a long time, she can tell he's the one. But she has said those exact words with every single guy. I met the guy in her birthday party last week, and even though I don't know him, here are a few red flags. My friend changed so much of her personality when she's with him. He cried in her birthday party because he was so afraid of losing her. He said a kind of racist comment about me. He also said that they should get married and it will be good for her because he will give her the green card and he is anti-abortion. So yeah, I don't want my friend to move to another country in Houston where she doesn't have family or friends with a guy and his family who she doesn't know. That's it. I hope you can help me. Love the podcast. Bye.
The only thing that good came out of Houston.
Beyonce.
Yep.
But also Lizzo and also Megan Thee Stallion.
Okay.
But also like
unless she's a rapper.
Also like I mean Houston is like as far like Houston has a high like black population, so it's like a better part of Houston, but it's still Texas. There's no fucking way that she's making even then they're
without cheap. References.
No, there's no fucking way she's making $8,000 a month. No way. No way.
Oh, and
in Texas, no fucking way.
Also,
they're
the
paying
opportunity like that, like of all the states to like contrast it being like so much opportunity in Texas, like.
And I thought we were gonna go a whole episode without bringing.
Did she say he was white or she was white?
The
caller
friend is white.
Yeah,
but I don't believe the caller is since he.
No, I meant the boyfriend.
He probably is white.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm gonna operate under that assumption because you didn't say otherwise. But like, I'm so sorry. Like beyond him being like an absolute dipshit, like. I think that you actually have a leg up in this situation because factually he is incorrect. Like she's not going to be making that much money there. Of all of the places where there is quote unquote more opportunity, like Texas, like holy fuck. If you think about like the power grid situation, like just everything, like Texas is strapped. Like there are so many fucking people. It is global warming is hitting it.
I honestly I think he's trying to get her there to get her pregnant. That's what I think.
I think I had a more nefarious thought process.
Or that he's trying to sex traffic her?
Yeah, I thought, and don't take this the wrong way, people, but like, sorry, I'm like just being like, shut the fuck up, anticipation, I'm saying it. I think a lot of people jump to sex trafficking a lot of the fucking time. And in reality, when we should jump to sex trafficking, America, like it's, white people in America. Taking other white, like, no, come on. And also, I mean, to be fair, she's white, so it's less of that. But like, this gives me.
She probably has like an accent.
Yeah,
white people are like, oh, that's so exotic.
Yeah, no, yeah, this is giving me like sex trafficking vibes, and
$8,000. Like he's so full. He's lying. He's trying to sell her on, quote unquote, the American dream.
And not even believable.
What the fuck even is that?
Yeah, this is like a huge red flag. And I wrote down in my notes that you need to scare him off and manipulate the situation. And did I just finish watching a season of Are You the One? Yes. And there's this one, Asia. This is season 5, 6? I don't know. Asia is my favorite character on a reality show. Person. So, yeah.
Personality.
Yeah, personality on this show. And they are about to win like $1 million split like 22 ways. So it's like $40,000 each after taxes.
Still.
Totally. But they always are, we're admitting $1 million.
How
like,
long are they there?
Like a month.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a good.
So,
chunk.
But she's figuring out, she's playing by, you would love her. She is like playing by strategy and is like taking no prisoners. And she finds out that this one girl is like, I'm not going to, like, the whole thing is everybody has to pair off with their perfect match because matchmakers have paired everyone off, but you don't know who it is. And you all have to like end up with your perfect matches. And then with Terrence, you get up there and then you have these beams of light. They have like a weird sci-fi sciencey aspect of it, which is my favorite because it's so low budget. And this one girl is gonna fuck it up for everyone because she's like, no, I'm gonna follow my heart. I'm gonna sit this person. And Asia like tries to get through to her, and then she finally goes, okay, we need to make the guy that she wants to pick hook up with somebody else. And then he won't do it. And she goes, fine, I'm just gonna say that he did. And just lie, like she just goes out of her way to like do all of this. And the girl knew what she was doing and knew if you're going to go through all of this after having tried to talk to me about this, you are so desperate for this, I'm going to do it. I think that like in this situation, you need to I think you have the logic explaining to her, like, I mean, to be fair, I would hang out with both of them. Like, I would hang out and like ask him questions and be like, so you're going to move here? So like, what's the opportunity in Texas? Oh, what does your family do? Like, oh, what's that company called? And like, I would get as much information as you can, but also at the same time, like, again, I think you can kind of come at this with like actual facts to her. Like, well, Nanny's not going to make that much money. Like, why do you, and then plant the seed. Like, why do you think he would tell you that?
Who's the family?
Yeah. Like, let's look them up. Like, let's vet them and make sure. Like, you need to have a contract before you go because you need a work visa.
Before you go somewhere, you should be having a conversation with the family regardless. He probably, if this is what we think it is, he probably has people that will pose as said family. But you don't know unless you start asking questions, and you've got to ask all the questions to start poking holes into this farcical thing that exists. But he's full of shit.
Yeah. And you said her family has money. Why
is she going for money?
Well, that's what I was going to say. Does his family have money? Like, what is because I think this reminds me, if anyone has seen, and you, caller specifically, Brittany Louise Taylor wrote a book about her experience and then did a bunch of videos, but basically like ended up getting manipulated and married and to a narcissist who was just like completely lying about everything and manipulating her, and then which led to like abuse, and it's really, really, really bad. And so if I think like poking holes in those things as opposed to kind of looking at this like, oh, this is what you always do. I think if it's asking questions that are very valid questions about the logistics of it that she will then have to think about. And then I think this is like a no holds bar, like fucking balls to the wall, go for it thing. Like, tell her parents can threaten to cut her off like financially, like completely. At a certain point, if everyone in her life who has known her for so much longer than this guy who she's known for just this small bit of time, especially if this is kind of how every relationship has gone, I would hope that she starts to see that there is something to that. But even if it's just, oh, where are you moving to? What's the address of the new apartment? Like, what's like, and not in an interrogating kind of way, but like, oh, what kind of furniture are you going to have? Like, let's go look online and see like what, like if we can design what your room would look like, and you can frame it to be just curiosity and kind of like exciting, fun stuff. But I think that those kinds of questions need to come up. And I also think that this is a serious enough thing that like I would get her parents involved if need be. And I would also have a sit down conversation with her being like, this is really bad. Like, I love you. And I know I've said that I haven't liked some of the guys you've dated before, and I haven't, but like, this is one that like, I'm afraid, like, I'm really afraid for you. And it's one thing to date someone and have it like find out that they're like not who they say they are, and they're like not a great partner to you, and like you still have your family here and your friends here and your life here. But it's another thing like when you're there, like you don't know that. And if this is really like the true love and he is the one that it says he is, you can date long distance and like you can do that, and it won't be this all or nothing thing. But truly I know if she doesn't go with him, he's going to drop her. And don't tell her that, but I'm saying like to prove, but if you can tell her that if this is the one, there is no rush and it will work. It can be long distance, and then she might see that he's not going to do that.
Yeah.
Like really sketch vibes.
Truly scared because of the way that she's acted in other relationships too. I do think you're kind of at an advantage because she has told you a lot of things that's happened in these relationships. I think sometimes when people are in manipulative relationships, they don't tell their friends because they're embarrassed by what has happened. But in her past relationship, she has told you a lot of the things that happened, and then, you know, the man breaks up with her, and this happens a lot to her. So I think continue to remain like an active participant friend, because you like, I mean, like sometimes people are in these type of situations and the friend's like, I don't know what to do. You actually like want to help her and, you know, keep her out of the situation. Ask her questions all the time. see if there's resources where you live where they can help people in this situation. Ask where they're going to live in Houston. Who are these people she's going to work for? Ask, like, you have to work in the US to work legally, which I think that's probably what she wants to do.
$8,000.
Yeah, she's going to need like a W-2. Like they have
bank account.
Yeah, do they have something set up where they run a business? Nobody's going to be paying legally $8,000 under the table. Remain curious, be there to support her, poke holes in the story. If it gets to the point where you're actually scared, tell her family.
I like what you said before, seeking out like resources of places that could do, like, I'm sure there's either like a toll-free number or like, I don't know where specifically you live, and like the relationship with, if there's a different type of law enforcement or like an organization that deals with that. Like, I'm sure even like there might even be an international hotline you can call being like, I think my friend is getting sex trafficked. I don't know. Not like a tip line, but something like, I don't know what to do with this. Could you like give me some advice? Yeah, I think like fucking push comes to shove. This is like so toxic, and like it's also bad because if it blows up in your face, like it's kind of the thing with the like bad relationships. If you intervene as a friend to a point where you get caught in what you're doing, it can then exile you. But this is one of those things that I think like you need to try absolutely everything. Like she can't get on that plane. I would go if it gets to like the point of like, no, like it's happening. I would go into her phone and change my number to say his number or something, or I would do something on his phone, or I would say I got a new phone, block all of his numbers, and I would text her and break up with her.
I would actually like that a lot. And
I would also probably ask her parents for some money and have them pay him off and be like, you need to leave and sign a contract.
Yeah.
That honestly, depending on what the timeline of that is, that actually might be your first point of is talking to her family about that. But yeah, so they need to break up and he needs to never speak to her again. And if that doesn't come from, if she's not choosing to do that, like, manipulate in any way that you are safe doing so.
Yeah. All right, next call.
Yes.
Hi, Meghan and Melisa. So I am a 26-year-old with she, her pronouns, and my boyfriend is 29, he, him. We have been dating for 3 years total, and we've been living together for 1 year. My boyfriend frequently smacks my butt or grabs me from behind, pushes himself against me when I bend over, grabs my butt when we hug, wants to make out in the kitchen, etc. So whenever I'm changing and he's in the room, he sort of bites his lip and wants to come over and hug me or touch me while I'm undressing. And, I understand that this is normal in a relationship. I touch him too, like I'll hug him from behind, rub his neck, but at times it just becomes a lot to handle. I don't always want to be humped or have his dick pressed against me. If I try to back away or continue with what I'm doing, he doesn't usually stop. I get annoyed and I'm sort of snapping at him and telling him to stop. And he then proceeds to get offended, throws hands up, say something like, geez, sorry, and sort of walks away. He often does this when I'm in the middle of something and it isn't really invited physical touch. We also have a roommate, and I'm not someone who enjoys a lot of PDA, so I'm not really down for just sucking face in the kitchen all the time. How can I communicate with him that this is something that is kind of overwhelming and just simply unwanted at times? It feels like he has ownership over my body, and it kind of just grosses me out sometimes because I don't want to feel like I owe him sexual favors or like he's entitled to touch me whenever he wants. Do you think this is something that just comes along with long-term relationships? I get it. He's attracted to me. He likes to feel my body. But I'm just not always down to be touched or like looked at like some sexual object. It also makes me feel like I'm not giving him enough attention or sex, which is also a gross feeling. So what do you guys think? Is this just something that comes with the territory, or how can I communicate with him like stop touching me all the time and sort of rubbing your dick on me? And definitely be as harsh as possible. I'm kind of, I don't know, I feel kind of stuck. So yeah, be harsh. Thanks. Love you guys. Bye.
End it.
Dump him. You know you know, talking to you specific, you know, this is not, comes with the territory. This is not okay. You know it. And that is the only thing in this call that makes me happy, is you at the end saying, be as harsh as you want, because you know, you know, and you have our permission, you have our encouragement, you have the spirit of us in you to, I mean,
there are two things that you said that I want to point out. You said you don't feel like you have ownership over your own body, that he does. You know how that sounds. You know what it is. He's forcing himself on you without your permission. He knows that you don't want this, and then when you tell him no, he gets frustrated and acts like it's your fault.
like a toddler, throws his hands up.
You also said it was kind of overwhelming. It's not kinda. It's very overwhelming. I know you're I just did it, downplaying what's actually happening here. Break up with him. I don't know how else. Dump him, fuck him, but don't fuck him.
But don't fuck him.
This isn't the kind of relationship you want to be in. Anything in life should be consensual. If you don't want to be touched and you tell him no, if you're not enthusiastic about him touching you.
And he doesn't stop immediately.
And he doesn't stop. He doesn't apologize. He gets angry with you. This is not the kind of relationship that you want to be in. He gets offended. You said he gets offended with it.
Yeah, and makes you feel like you owe him and that you're not giving enough during sex. And it's not even just how he touches you, but it's how he also looks at you. And this is
biting his lip.
Disgusting. Disgusting. And he's made it to be like you to feel like you're like a wonderful person, so sexy, all of that, but as if that like it's a compliment to have your boundaries crossed. And also there are some things in this world that like you don't have to communicate that. And first of all, you already have communicated that. You have verbally communicated that. You have physically, by moving away, you've said, no, I don't want to do that. There is nothing you can say to someone who is not caring about obtaining your consent before getting physical with you that is going to make them change what they're doing at all. That's not something in any relationship that you should have to communicate. Having to communicate that is a red flag, and it's a stop sign. It's a end of relationship at all. There are certain times where like I get overstimulated if like someone's too close to me sometimes, or like touching me, or like rubbing like my shoulder in like not a sexual way. And that is something that like, yes, that's a communication thing, but this is not. This isn't about like a miscommunication or not understanding or just being different people. This is someone who, and I'm hesitant to use words that might feel really, I don't want to, you said we could be harsh, but I also don't want to say anything that like makes you feel like we don't understand and then pushes you back closer to him. But there's a word that starts with A that this is, and that is what, like, you have to consent even if it's your long-term partner. Every time there's any sort of touching, sexual or not, like, that is...
He's trying to coerce you into doing things that you don't want to do.
And if this has been going on for this long, I also think he enjoys that.
Yeah.
Because you should be mortified. Like, you should be mortified and be like, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry.
The first time it happened.
First and only time that it's like, wow, I can't believe that. But when you keep coming back for that, it's because it's getting you off. And you're also trying to be like, I will break her.
And he's also trying to do it when you're working on something else or in front of your roommate. And he's trying to show how much control he has over you. So this does not come with the territory. This is not something that is normal. This is not the kind of relationship that you want to be in. He does not respect you. Get out.
Yeah. this is abusive. Like, it is abusive. And I hope that me saying that doesn't make you feel like we don't understand. But like, I'm saying this as someone who similar age range, been with my fiance, been with Moss for like 7 years, lived together. This is not the joking thing where people make on TikTok where it's like when you're bending down in front of the fridge and your boyfriend doesn't come over and pretend to like hump your butt. That's not this.
No. And
this isn't playful or funny.
Like that, that's something that they've agreed to. That's something they're into. Somebody might, like the excitement of being in the middle of something and have a dick rubbed up against it. But if
I don't think,
some
in
people,
theory,
I'm just saying,
in an instance, someone can consent to that.
It can be, it can be during the thing. They're like, I like that.
Yeah.
But like, even if this was like even if you liked it all, like,
exactly,
liked it 30 times, and then the one time you said no, and then he gets mad about it, it doesn't matter.
No. But this is not how long-term relationships go.
You don't feel comfortable in your own home.
No. And this isn't sexual. It's power and control and
humiliation too.
Yeah. Yeah. But I thank you for calling. Like, I don't want to say I'm proud of you because I don't know you, but like this, you knew what we were going to say.
You took the first step.
Yeah.
Or second step. I don't know where you are. First step might have been just recognizing that this is something that doesn't make you comfortable. Now you're calling to see, getting other people's opinions to see, is this normal? No, it's not normal. Should I leave him? Yes.
Yeah. Well, is that the last one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Time for Don't Blame Him.
Woo! It's a pivot. So now Don't Blame Them. This is where a listener will call in with their own advice pertaining to a call we had on a previous episode. So maybe they have their own experience, or they just thought of something that we didn't, or have some of their own personal insight.
Hi, I am calling in for a Don't Blame Them for episode 34 in the current season. And this is in regards to the boyfriend who wouldn't move to Australia with the girlfriend, with the caller. I was in a similar situation, except I was the person who was asked to move. We weren't moving out of the country, but we were moving across the country. My ex-fiance had gotten into a PhD program across the country. I thought we were making the decision together at first, but when it came down to the point when I realized the career options for me in the state and the city that we were moving to were not great. And I was also, of course, being offered a promotion at work. I asked to do long distance since it would only be for about 2 years. He then gave me an ultimatum. Either you come with me or we're done. And this was a 4-year-long relationship. Meghan was definitely right. If you are with somebody, whether you're married or not, you make these decisions together because it affects both of your lives. When he gave me the ultimatum, it scared me, and it caused me to, I want to move, right? Because I'm doing this for him. I'm doing this for the relationship and because we love each other, and I'm trying to be supportive. But it wasn't good, right? I resented him. I was lonely. I was starting my career over. It's just not how good relationships, the foundations are built, and it's just not how you continue. To basically tell someone that it's my way or the highway, that's not a partnership. And if that's how you're viewing your current relationship, maybe that relationship's not for you in the long term. And that's okay. But forcing someone to make a move, especially one out of the country, because if you were the man and he was the woman, you would make that. That's also a lot of internalized misogyny there, and you might want to explore that as well. But if you really wanted the relationship to work, it would need to be a conversation about, like, how do we tackle this together? Not, I'm leaving and I hope you're coming, or you should be coming. So my advice is, girl, reevaluate what you're doing. Love you guys. Great podcast. To the caller I'm talking to, I hope everything goes well, and I hope you enjoy your move.
Wow, that was poetic.
It was.
You were the kind of person in class, like, you could
tact.
Yeah.
Tact.
Like, you could give a critique, like a public out loud critique of like someone's work, and everybody would be like, oh, I know it sounds like I should be saying thank you, but I know this really, and the teacher's like, oh, thank you, it was really insightful. And you're like, oh, knife to the chest.
And then you like, it takes people like a day and they're like, wait, just talk shit.
Yeah. And then you're like, what? Me?
I just told the truth.
I don't think so. I think I mean, that's a fact. If it hurt your feelings, I apologize for that, but I was just talking.
Yeah.
That was wonderful. Wonderful. And I knew it was going to be good as soon as you said ex-fiance.
Yep.
Yeah,
thank you.
Fuck that,
oh,
dude.
and I just want to say this is from season 9, episode 24. I think you said 34, but it's 24.
It's a good, that was a good original call too. I wonder what happened. I think we pissed her off. Probably a little bit.
She needed to hear it.
Yeah. Well, call us back, original caller.
Let us know if y'all are still together.
Yeah.
If he's going with you.
Maybe you do the update with him and you're in like Australia or wherever you are. And he's just like, well, that's it for our episode. We hope you all enjoyed. Or do you want me to read one? My favorite podcast from Don't Blame Katya. I grew up watching Meghan and started listening to this podcast in 2019. I can't believe I'm only reviewing it now. This podcast has brought me so much humor and comfort. As a mixed, Black, chronically ill, closeted bi woman, this podcast has made me feel heard and validated through some of the toughest periods of my life. Aww. This podcast pushed me to go to therapy, which is life-changing. I have listened to so many episodes that I can apply their advice to my own life. They have brought me the courage to cut toxic relationships and situations. It's refreshing to be a part of such an inclusive, funny, and thoughtful community. The silver lining in COVID-19 is that Melissa became a permanent host. I can't recommend this podcast enough, except if you are conservative. I listen, parentheses. I look forward to every Monday and Thursday because of them. Meghan and Melissa, please keep doing what you're doing, even if you aren't making any money from it. LOL, because the value is priceless. When I binge listen to too many episodes in a row, I get Meghan saying, I'm going to level with you stuck in my head.
I'm going to level with you. And what is it? To be fair.
Yeah, I have like 5 fucking sayings. And I also do, I'm sorry, but, and it's never, and I'm never sorry. Thank you. That's a great one. We should put that on a pitch deck for something. But we'll have to cut out the money part. Can be like, brands.
I mean, we make money on this one.
Yeah, we do. We don't make money on our other podcast.
Not like a living wage or anything, but
enough
to suffice.
Yeah, like we're not spending. I mean, you could make a podcast for really cheap, but when you listen to it, you can
hear how cheap it is.
And nothing that rich Auntie Melissa does is cheap. So, yeah, we make money on this show. You know, like holiday card money.
You make like enough to buy groceries.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you don't make it's not a living wage. It's more like we slipped a couple of bills in your birthday gift, like in your
but the
Hallmark
expenses
card.
are covered.
Exactly. And then the other podcast, it's not that. That is it for this episode. Thank you so much. If you want to call in for an upcoming episode, 310-694-0976. Or international listeners, send your audio message to meghanpodcast@gmail.com. I don't know if I said that at the beginning, but this way you have to listen to the whole show.
It's also in the show notes.
Oh, that too. And at this point, come on. And if you are listening this far, comment on the latest Instagram.
I think your favorite moment over the last 10 seasons.
Oh my God. Yeah. Well, yeah. Let us know what your favorite moment or moments have been. We love that. Okay. Well, we hope you enjoyed, and we will see you next time.
Goodbye.
Stunning.
Thank you.
Wee, bye.
Don't Blame Me is a production by me. Executive produced by Melissa DeMonts and Diamond Imprint Productions. Edited by Coco Lawrence. Post-production sound by Chris Henry. Production assistance by Melanie D. Watson. Music by Ryan Hunter and Giacomo Picasso.
Listening to a podcast should be time well spent, and I promise it will be if you'll give this podcast a try. It's called Something You Should Know. I'm the host, Mike Carruthers, and in every episode, I talk with leading experts on topics I know you will find fascinating. From why people can't keep secrets, what your favorite music says about you, why your pet acts in strange ways, and so much more. Something You Should Know is designed to give you information you can use in your life. and give you great intel that you can share with others. I'm told it's a binge-worthy podcast. And with over 1,000 episodes, there's a lot to binge on. Something You Should Know has been ranked in the top of the Apple Podcast charts consistently for a long time. I know you're going to like this. I just need to get you to try it. Something You Should Know. It's available wherever you listen to podcasts.
Hi, I'm Jennifer, a founder of the Go Kid Go network. At Go Kid Go, putting kids first is at the heart of every show that we produce. That's why we're so excited to introduce a brand new show to our network called The Search for the Silver Lining, a fantasy adventure series about a spirited young girl named Isla who time travels to the mythical land of Camelot. Look for The Search for the Silver Lining on Spotify, Apple, or wherever you get your podcasts.
Hey, are you ready for some real talk and some fantastic laughs? Join me, Megan Rinks.
And me, Melissa DeMonts, for Don't Blame Me, But Am I Wrong?
We're serving up 4 hilarious shows every week designed to entertain and engage and, possibly enrage you.
And Don't Blame Me, we dive deep into listeners' questions, offering advice that's funny, relatable, and real.
Whether you're dealing with relationship drama or you just need a friend's perspective, we've got you.
Then switch gears with But Am I Wrong, which is for listeners who didn't take our advice and want to know if they are the villains in the situation.
Plus, we share our hot takes on current events and present situations that we might even be wrong in our lives. Spoiler alert, we are actually quite literally never wrong.
But wait, there's more. Check out See You Next Tuesday, where we reveal the juicy results from our listener polls from But Am I Wrong?
And don't miss Fisting Friday, where we catch up, chat about pop culture, TV, and movies. It's the perfect way to kick off your weekend.
So if you're looking for a podcast that feels like a chat with your besties, listen to Don't Blame Me, But Am I Wrong on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever you get your podcasts. New episodes every Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday.